to suggest that what this ordinance was trying to accomplish is a resurrection of the war on drugs is deeply dishonest. It's gaslighting. It's a lie. I want to revisit the comment that Councilwoman Tammy Morales, who again is up for re-election, I urge you to keep that in mind, made yesterday when she voted against a plan to ensure that drugs remained criminalized in the city of Seattle.
This bill is not intended to solve substance use disorder. It is not intended to provide treatment to people. It is not intended, even if encouraged, to support pretrial diversion. It is not intended to mitigate the racial disproportionality that always comes when arresting people is made easier. The sole intent then is to put poor people in jail, most of whom will be Black and brown, and then let them out and ensure that they have a record that follows them forever and makes it harder to get a job or get housing. I still hear neighbors talking in South Seattle about the trauma caused by the Weed and Seed program, another effort to target users and round them up, especially in communities of color. Let's be very clear that what hangs in the balance today is whether we will vote to put Black and brown people in jail.
What hangs in the balance today is whether we will vote to put Black and brown people in jail. If she really believes that, then she believes that the only Black and brown people who are hurting right now are those who are addicted to drugs. And I think that's actually kind of a racist sentiment, Councilwoman. You aren't considering the Black and brown business owners who are hurt by all of this. You are not considering the Black and brown residents of the city who don't feel safe over all of this. If I'm to believe you, then your only care and concern are Black and brown residents who are actively engaged in substance abuse. And you're forgetting about everyone else, or you're assuming that the only Black and brown residents we have in the city are those who are addicted to drugs, which is kind of odd. You know, the Councilwoman talks about the fact that she believes this ordinance would have resurrected the failed war on drugs. And I'm not a fan of the war on drugs as someone with libertarian tendencies. But Seattle, as long as I've lived here, 13 years, has never been a city engaged in the war on drugs. Ever. It has never been a city, as long as I've lived here, that has actively sought to put drug users in jail. Certainly not to put them in prison. As a percentage of the prison population in Washington state, the amount that are there for only drug-related crimes is about 2%. We don't put people in prison in this state for simply being drug addicts. We don't do it. That's a fact. And we don't put people in our jails simply for being drug addicts. We haven't as long as I've lived here. So to suggest that what this ordinance was trying to accomplish is a resurrection of the war on drugs is deeply dishonest. It's gaslighting. It's a lie. What we do need a war on is addiction. And if you don't believe so, Councilwoman, then you support people dying on our streets. We need a war on the addiction that is leading to an increase in crime. We need a war on the addiction that is stopping tourists from visiting what was once a beautiful city. We need a war on addiction that is leading to a lower quality of life for those who live, work, and visit downtown Seattle. So we do need a war, not on drugs, but on addiction. And to suggest that passing an ordinance that makes drug use and drug possession in public a crime is the exact same thing as the war on drugs in this country is absurd. When we were putting people in prison, in federal prison, for abusing substances, no one is saying that we need to bring that back, not even close. Every conversation that I have heard on this issue has been about a balance between accountability and compassion. They weren't having those conversations during the war on drugs in this country. They weren't talking about arresting people as a way to get them better, as a way to get them into treatment, as a way to get them back on their feet. We are a much more compassionate and understanding society today than we were during the war on drugs. But if you, Councilwoman, don't support a war on addiction, which is what we truly need, then you have no place in a position of leadership in a city where people are dying at record numbers. And I will say it, you need to lose your job. And the people in your district, the 2nd District in Seattle, need to take that job away from you. And they need to give it to someone who has an ounce of sanity and who actually cares whether the people living on our streets survive.